Larry, what do you say we take Mark? Mark is calling in from Orlando. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi there, Larry.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, I've got a 2004 Toyota Tacoma. It's got about 206,000 miles on it. Love that little truck. Started to develop a little bit of lifter knock. When I'm sitting at a red light, I can kind of hear it. I'm just curious if, I don't really want to spend a lot of money on the truck because she's coming towards the end of her life. Well, not really, but I may be looking to buy something else. But I'm just wondering if I can calm that down with additives or oil or anything else as opposed to, taking it in and getting the valve covers taken off and everything.
On that engine, Mark, I believe that one uses a shim and bucket to actually adjust the lash between the cam and the bucket that goes over top of the valve. On those, there's I don't think there's anything hydraulic in it to compensate. I mean, you could put, you could dump anything in the motor. I don't think it would make any difference. It's going to need to have the valve clearances checked in the engine if you think it's a ticking type of lifter valve adjustment type of situation. On those, you have to pull the cam covers on them, and you got to get the cam lobes as far away from the shim and bucket as you can, and just take a filler gauge underneath of it and find out if you've got one that's excessive. A lot of times you can listen to the engine run and kind of figure out which side of the motor it is. I mean, it's like this. It's a little bit of work to do a valve adjustment on one of them, but you're probably talking about a $7 shim in order to fix it. And in some cases, if it's the shim itself that's worn, a lot of times a technician can actually just take them and flip them over and give the cam lobe a new place to run on, and then remic it and with a filler gauge and see if your clearances is back in spec or not. But oil, changing oil or an additive or something like that, it's not going to fix it. See, if it was a hydraulic bucket or a hydraulic lifter per se, a thicker oil might do something, or if you run an engine flush through it, it might do something. The problem with it is you get a lot of engines like that. They go through their whole entire life, and they never get a valve adjustment because people don't know that it needs to have one. But the Toyotas with the 4.7 engines, the 3.4 motors, I think some of the 4.0 motors, there's even on the Honda 3.5 motors. Those are all adjustable valve trains, and the unfortunate part is most people don't ever bother having the valve checked or adjusted, and those are the engines that you wind up with burnt valves because as things wear, the valves become tighter, and you lose any clearance at all, and usually you wind up getting a burnt valve on account of it. If you hear one ticking, that's actually a good thing. You know that the valve's not too tight, but that needs to be checked. All your adjustments on all your valves need to be checked, and the one that's got excessive clearance in it, which is the one that's ticking, needs to be addressed. If they get too loose, Mark, what'll happen is on a motor like that it uses a shim over bucket, it'll actually flip the shim out, and then the next thing you know, the cam lobe comes around and hits the retainer on the valve and knocks the keepers off. Then you drop a valve down on top of a piston, and then it's toast at that point. So when you get a ticking in an engine, when you get a ticking in a motor, it's not something that you should really ignore. It's something that should be addressed. I know nobody wants to spend money on anything, but, in your case, it sounds like it's been awful good to you. And, what'll really kind of change your tune with this is go online at Craigslist or Auto Trader or something like that and put in 2004 Toyota Tacoma. And just when you get an idea of what those things sell for, even with 200,000 miles on it, you're going to look at this from a whole new perspective. It's going to be, you know what, I think maybe I will get a valve adjustment done on that. It seems like what's funny about those Tacomas, and I kid around about this a lot with my guys at the shop. I say, you know what, I said, it seems like the more miles they put on those vehicles, the more they ask for them. You'll see one with 280,000. You'll see one with 280,000 mile on it, and they'll want, for even an 04, and they'll want $15,000 and $16,000 for the truck. I'm like, seriously, it seems like the more miles they put on those little trucks, the more they think they're worth. And I guess they sell them for those crazy amounts as well. But, Mark, yeah, definitely give that some thought. Look it up yourself. Google the daylights out of it and see, put in there 04 Tacoma valve adjustment, and you'll see just how important that is. Fixing it now will save you a whole lot of money compared to what it'll wind up costing you down the road. Thanks for the call, and you have a great weekend.
Thank you so much, Mark. That opens up a line for you to get on with Larry right now. Give us a call, 844-580-9326. 844-580-WDBO. Get on the air with Larry Perry.